Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with Terracotta by MicroStudy. So this is the seventh and final puzzle of our Chinese Whispers theme week. Hopefully you aren't sick of Chinese Whispers, but this is the last one. So what are the rules for this puzzle? Well, we have normal 6x6 Sudoku rules. So in every row, every column, and every 2x3 box, we are placing the digits 1 to 6 exactly once each. We also have Chinese Whispers in the grid. These are these red lines. So adjacent digit along a Chinese Whisper must have a difference of at most 2. So if this was a 3, for example, then this cell could be a 1, 2. It could be a 3 if Sudoku allowed it, 4 or 5, but it cannot be a 6. Because 6 minus 3 is 3. That's not at most 2. That is bigger than 2, in fact. So let me find an example. Do I have an example in this puzzle? I don't see one in this puzzle where you can repeat a digit, but just be careful that repeating is possible as long as Sudoku allows it. All right, so we also have these black dots in the grid. So digits separated by a black dot have a 1 to 2 ratio. That means 1 is exactly double the other. So if this was a 2, then this could be a 1 because 2 is double 1, or it could be a 4 because 4 is double 2. We could also have a 2, 4 here. There's no black dot, but that's perfectly fine. We aren't given all of the black dots, just some of them. All right, so those are the rules. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself. And I'm going to get started right now. All right, how do we want to get started is always the question. So the only digit you can't put on a black dot is 5. Because you can't divide 5 by 2 and you can't multiply 5 by 2 in a 6 by 6. So I wonder if that's important here. Well, we have a 5 in one of these. We also have a 5 in here and a 5 in here. I find it in... Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is different whether you connect these or not. It's interesting. So there's something about 1 and 6 where if we put a 1 on a Chinese Whisper line, then it has to be surrounded by 2, 3 pair. And 6 has to be surrounded by a 4, 5 pair for the same reason. So, and then that would force this to be 5. And that's a problem, actually, because 5 would have to be next to a 2, and that's too far away. And the reason this would have to be a 5 is we can't put a 5 on this black dot. So we can't actually put a 1 on this ring anywhere. Because if I put a 1 on this ring anywhere, it's going to cause a 2, 3 pair next to it, and then the 5 is going to be too far away from the 2. That's really cool. So this is a 1, 2 pair for that reason. And then this is 3, 4, 5, 6, if we feel like penciling that. The only thing we have to be careful about is the 3 is too far from the 6. So we're going to have kind of like a 3, 6 pair in one of these two corners, so they aren't next to each other. But I don't know how to mark that, so we're not gonna. Do we have something similar going on elsewhere, or maybe that's not reused? If this was a 1, again, it would have to be surrounded by 2, 3. That would make this a 5. I think that's okay. Actually, 5, okay, that's the problem. 5 is too far away from 1 or 2, which we just learned. So that's not a 5. This is a 5. And so 5... It can be from 3, 4, or 6. They do see the 5. In fact, that's just what's left for this column, which actually does help here. This has to be a 3, 6 pair because the 4 doesn't have a buddy. So that makes this a 4. 4 is too far from 1, so that's a 2. 5 is close enough to 3 and 6, so that's fine. I think that's because I penciled it that way. Okay, so what are we doing with this info? Well, this is 1, 2, 4, 5. So the 2 and the 4, okay, so we need to be careful because the 5 needs to be next to the 4 and the 2. Can't be next, wait, hold on. The 5 has to be over here, so that it doesn't have to be next to 2 different things because it can only be next to the 4. So these are not 5. The 5 is here, and then the 5 is going to be next to the 4, so the 4 is not here because the 5 can't be next to the 1 or the 2. Seems to be a running theme here. So these are not 4s and these are not 5s. Does that help us? We know that the 3, 6 are diagonal. Okay, so if the 3, 6 are diagonal, we know that one of these is a 3 or 6, and then this is the other 3 or 6. Okay, so This cell can't be 3 or 6. So it's from 1 to, can't be 3, 4, 5, or 6. So it's only 1 or 2. But 1 is too far from 4. So this is a 2. And then 6 is too far from 2. So that's a 3. 3 does go to 5. Nice. These are not 2s. So these aren't 1s because that's a 1, 5 pair. Okay, so now we have pairs. This is 4, 6 now. So that's 3, 5. This is a pair. This is 1, 6. So this is either 3, 6 like this or 3, 6 like this. Still don't know. Well, we have this whole half of the grid to do, so that's fine. Let's take a look. From the 2, we could go to 1, 3, or 4 only. The 1 would go with 2. That's not allowed because there's a 2 already here. 3 would go with 6. That seems fine. 4 would go with 2, which is not allowed. You can't go with 8. Okay, so that's 3 and 6. That's 1 and 6. That's 5 and 3. The 3 goes with the 6 diagonally, as we talked about. So this is a pair. This is 1 and 4. And then this is 2, 5, 6. So maybe we can figure out what's going on here. Well, this can't be a 2, 5 pair, right? So if this wasn't 6, this would be a 2, 5 pair, and then they'd be 3 away. So this has to be the 6 to make up for that. And then 6 is way too far from 1. And 6 is way too far from 2. So that's how that works. This is 1, 2, or 1, 4. Yeah, these are from 1, 2, 4. So they definitely contain a 2 because it's either 1, 2, or 2, 4. So that's not a 2. All right, is it this here? 3 is in range of all of them. 6 is only in range of the 4. But I don't see why we couldn't do 6, 4. Right, if that was 6, 4, this would be 2. Okay, well, it's probably this thing then. Or this thing. Let's see, 1 would be next to 2 or 3. That seems okay. 4 can be next to anything except 1. That would be 4, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, so let's just fill some pairs here. It's nothing obvious to do. So this is 3, 5. This is 1, 2, 4. Ah, well, this is a naked single 4. That would help. So if that's not 4, this could still be 2. It could be 2, 1. All right, well, 4 is too far away from 1. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 2. There we go. That's a 4, 2, 4. 2 is too far from 5. 4, okay, well, let's just fill what these are. The box needs 1, 3, 5, and 6, and we can clean all this up, and we will figure out what's going on. Well, the 4 can go to either 3 or 5. No problem there. 1 is too far from 5, though. And that's what would happen. If this was a 5, this would be a 3, this would be a 1, and we'd end up with 1, 5 next to each other. So basically, I guess the best way to think about that is I'm going to need a 3 in here. Because if I don't have a 3 in here, it's 1, 5. So if I need a 3 in here, then there's a 3 here. That makes this 6, and actually that makes this 5. 3 and 1 and 5 and 3. There we go. That's an easy way to think about it. Cool. Well, nice final puzzle for our Chinese Whispers week. Still some different logic in this than we've had before. I think that there's a lot of flexibility with these Chinese Whispers. I was hoping that that was the case when I chose that as the theme. So let me know how you felt about this week. The plan is the first Monday of every month will be a new theme week, and otherwise the rest of the weeks or the rest of the days of the month will be covered by our normal puzzle rotation. So let me know how you felt about this. How you felt about doing the same constraint 7 days in a row, just with different variations within that. And of course, if you enjoyed this puzzle and if you enjoyed the theme week, then why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.